Aloha, dear sweet family of light. It's me, Lisa Transcendence Brown, and it's been a while since I did a video. Wow, 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 and wow. Can we talk energies and upgrades and magnificence and awesomeness and wow, where do we start? I got up this morning and had a live event, and I've written so many pieces to share lately, and I don't ever get to complete them. And so there's tons to share, and there's just not enough, quote, time, if you will, because there's so many things to complete and get done and get out. It takes a lot to get it all done. So, but I'm hoping you can hear the birds. I came outside today. I haven't been able to come outside in a while, too, but I'm going to change that. Parrots. There's all kinds of birds going on today. It's definitely our enchanted land of magnificence here on Kauai. See the mountain behind me. All right, so hopefully you can see me. I can't tell. I can't see anything here. All right, I'm going to talk about many different topics as I usually do. Lots of observation, lots of realizations, lots of awareness, lots of everything coming through for everybody who's on the journey of awakening, remembering, expansion, multidimensional consciousness, embodiment of light, all of these things. And through my, one thing is as you become a higher self aspect, you study humans and higher self aspects, if you will. You study energy. It's a part of remembering again, where in order to truly see, hear, feel, see, we have to be in that place, in that space to pay attention and observe without the opinions. It's how we see the inner workings of everything. And the more we observe, the more we understand, the more we see. And for the higher self aspect of us, we spend a lot of time in observation mode. We see absolutely everything, and we pay attention to the energy of everything, the flow, when things speed up, when they slow down, this entire gamut of things. Lately has been really interesting. I would say over the last few days, over the last many months, last many years, it just depends on what we're going through or experiencing at that time. Because technically we only need a human experience to show us something that was inside of us that we couldn't see, to help trigger that reality of anything that's unresolved within us that comes from a place of lack, so that we can resolve that lack or that separation inside ourselves. And as we do that, then we come back to peace and love and bliss and magic, and we expand fully again. Now, the space in between this will be dependent based upon the amount of light and awareness that we hold, if you will. And the only reason I say this is because it's really fast now. In the old days, things would just last forever. And we're like, wow, will this ever break? And in the old frequency bandwidths of unconsciousness, if you will, we had to wait a long time for the old realities to break. Now they're instant and really fast for those who have been doing the journey intentionally. All you've got to do is change your vibration. All you've got to do is expand. All you've got to do is shift, retune. And we were talking about this earlier. When I'm reading frequency bandwidths, I tilt my head and I will watch the vibrations in the airwaves, if you will. They have sounds, they have visual imagery. Each one means something different. And what I do is I hear the sound of all the different vibrations of the gamma rays, of the solar flares, of the crystalline activations, of the diamond light code frequencies, all of these things. And then years ago, I started as a translator. As I would hear the frequency and match it up to what was going on in the physical body and what it targeted, And then I would write for people, this is what these do, in order to re-educate people out of the old mindsets of something being wrong and into a new expanded awareness of this is our evolution. This is our light body. This is our crystalline light body. This is our vessel that holds all of the keys and codes and everything in it and in our field of consciousness. The more conscious we are, the more we bring it inward, and the more we expand that light, and I'm going to talk my language just like I do for everybody, then that field expands out. And for a while, we contract, we expand, contract, expand. And then after, if you will, we go through the process of that, the whole body blows up, goes haywire, and we expand, we blow up with photonic air. We have to sleep a whole lot. Then it's boots on the ground. And after we've gone through the resurrection phase, a lot of people collectively just went through it. When I went through it years ago, then I had to start my embodiment phase. And what we do is as that energy activates, then the initiations come, then the tests come, if you will, because the test is just an initiation, which is just an experience. And some you'll do in your sleep state, and everything you'll do in your waking state that contributes to a part of the whole. Now, one thing that's important to understand is that being aware of everything and that this is a program. And so absolutely every breath we breathe, every word that is spoken, every feeling that we feel, every energy exchange, everything is this holographic program that becomes physically real. Physical world objects are a materialization of a consciousness. So as you expand your consciousness, as you unify inside, then physical world matter changes physical form in accordance to your consciousness. For some, this will be people coming and going from their world. For some, this will be things coming and going from their world. Moving, physical locations, different places to live, physical matter, anything around them. When we go through a massive upgrade process, all new things are coming forth. More abundance. And when you are in perpetual upgrading, continually, perpetual being an awesome thing, then awesome things are continually coming forth. When things occur in your physical world that are not okay, the more unified, the vaster our field, the faster we have to act intentionally and with decision and choice and responsibility. There's no lag time anymore. And this is what's catching people off balance, is because when we go through these timeline collapses, then their physical world, as they perceive, starts to fall apart because those realities have collapsed. And they were of an old consciousness. And therefore, everything that is a part of that reality has to go too, unless they are consciously aware and can transform it into light, unless they can shift their consciousness about what it means and how to utilize it in order to be in service as a light being here. Now, the reason I say this is because the old human had to suffer a whole lot, and we don't have to suffer anymore. And now for the point of this video, because of the things that I have been observing. So this year and over the years, we have had many conversations about the unconsciously conscious. And the only reason I say this is not a judgment. It is an awareness of that every one of us technically are always becoming more conscious than we were before. The difference is that in full consciousness, our heart has to be open, our mind has to be open, and they have to synchronize at the same frequency. And what has been interesting to observe is that the human will, when they, that's a parrot. I think, anyway, okay. I've been observing humans and human aspects, because we all have human aspects. The difference is how dominant human we are, how much lack we still hold, and where it is, and whether we can move it out and clear it out and recognize it the moment it presents, and stop existing in those old programs anymore. And it can be instant. The moment you see it, boom, it can go. If there's any energy held in your body, you'll have to get the energy up and out, and then the program can change, which is really cool. So I'm going to go into some comparison things here, because I will use comparisons so that we can see. Because when you separate things to see them, then you can put them all back together again from a place of peace and unity. And so you want to take separation and observe it for exactly what it is, and then it doesn't have to be separation anymore. So in observing the human aspect, I've been noticing many, lately especially, that when there's a lot of lack or fear within them, and I will say, and avoidance, don't want to deal, don't want to be responsible, don't want to step up, don't want to become conscious, don't want to move into the next phase of consciousness. It's too scary. All of these things, so much judgment, not good enough, you name it, it's all of these things. Then what has been a prominent thing lately to observe is that the human aspect will start paying attention to everything out in the physical world, and it'll go on guard, and it'll put walls up, and it'll go into protection mode. And it's basically, I'm describing by using my body to explain, but the humans watching that and going, oh no, if I do this, I can control this, and this won't have to happen, and I won't have to be conscious, and I won't have to take responsibility, and I won't have to deal with that, and blah, 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 blah. And it just keeps going. And I'm observing human aspects that have so much opportunity sitting at their feet. I'm using words here. Throw it all away. Blow it. Not really, because you can't. But refuse to open up because they're on guard, maneuvering out of survival mode. It's a survival instinct to maneuver around things, not to have to deal, not to have to do that, knowing that they have to. There is no way around it. It's going to happen. The thing that I'm seeing the most, though, is that the repercussions, if you will, and these are just words, but I got to have some kind of word to use here, is that the consequences to wanting to stay unconscious are quicker and faster and harsher now. Everybody has to wake up. If they opted to continue in a physical reality and move into the higher dimensions and the embodiment process, then it means stepping in full responsibility, full consciousness. No more hiding, no more avoidance. All of that has to go. And the frequency bandwidths that we're in now don't allow for avoidance anymore. Now, can they choose to do the journey a different way and go a different path? Yes, they can. The difference is when we enter into a relationship, if you will, or an agreement, or anything that we do. Partnerships, that's another one. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm just using examples here. Is that we make the agreement to accept the reality of those around us that we allow in our field and the field that we're in. Now, where there's light, it's beautiful and it's magnificent and it's awesome and everybody gets to receive. But when it's out of balance, when things are not working, when one person is shut down, when their reality goes sideways, it actually pulls everybody else into that reality too. So, which means that either one has to overcompensate to compensate for the lack in the one, or has to step away and let the other one go, do their thing the way they need to. Or, I mean, there's so many ors here, and you figure it out based upon what you see. But basically, masculine, feminine has to be maintained in balance within ourselves and within our relationships. So we have to be able to maintain that balance within ourselves, stand as love, stand in our power, and maintain a relationship without attachments, cords, lack security, safety. And we have to stand in our power fully together as one, as a unit, as a team, as family. That is what this says. And if we're not, then each person's going to experience the reality of the other one. Or let's say that you have, I'm going to go to a couple that I saw recently, and one was dominant, strong, and everything, and the other one wasn't. But the one will pull another one along, but after a while that gets heavy and it doesn't work anymore, because you can't pull somebody along, because then the one pulling, their field starts to be affected, if you will. So now I'm going to go to fields of consciousness, because the human that has to wake up to new awareness, to new responsibility, to new stepping into your roles and your purposes and all of these things, you have to go through the sleeping process. You have to go through many processes. You have to go through the letting go of the control. You have to let go of all of these things. You have to release them, transcend them, unify them inside. You have to love yourself so fully that you don't have any lack anymore, and that you're not willing to compromise, and that you're not willing to take less. But then that also means you have to step up and you have to start to stand in your power and not allow the old stuff anymore. There's no enabling here. There's no filling, not the right word that I'm looking for. There's no feeding the energies of the old. Now, there are, because until we're conscious of it, we're feeding the energies of the old. But the moment we become conscious of it, we stop feeding the energies of the old stories. And we're either doing it from obligation or agreements that we're still trying to continue. And the beauty of this is you can fulfill an agreement at any time. You don't have to continue the agreements anymore. If you become conscious and those around you are not, then you have to choose whether you're going to continue to play out that story and that role. Now, where each person is open and embracing and working together, then it's beautiful and it can be a magnificent thing. But if not, then something will have to change, because that's the way it works. A field of consciousness is affected by everything in it. Now, the physical body, for a while when we were really human, our physical body was going through and we were affected physically by this. But then what happens is, as we clear that within our physical body, then it just becomes a field of consciousness. And so what happens is we will go through where our energy field has a spin. And we'll go through physical ascension, the first phase, if you will, to the fifth dimension, where the body has to come along. The Merkaba kicks in, brings you through to the fifth dimension. Then you have to feet on the ground. A lot of people will float for a year or two or a few months. It's getting shorter periods where people don't get to float as long anymore. You'll float, go through a detachment from everything, cut all the cords. You won't care about the physical world at all. You're happy floating, flying high as a kite. A lot of people try to ground, and they don't understand that they are anchoring their higher self existences into their physical body. And so the higher self aspect souls are descending, if you will, into the physical, whereas the humans were ascending in the physical. Well, now what we have is that Earth completed the ascension process, if you will, in December, which means that Earth in a higher frequency bandwidth, well, everybody on Earth now has to release all these programs in their physical body. There's no support anymore. So the boomerang effect, that is what we used to call it, is boom, right in your face. This is instant, get your reality straight frequencies. There's no more lag time. There's no more delay. There's no more procrastination. Let me think about it. Oh, let me try to get by the old way. Doesn't happen. These frequencies don't allow for just getting by. That was an old human way. And I've been observing the I'm just trying to get by energies. And they don't fly. So we're not meant to live in that lack place, lack of honor, lack of respect, lack of integrity to ourself. And this is the thing, is that this isn't about anybody else. This is to us. So we have to love ourselves so fully that our realities completely change, and they're beautiful and they're magnificent. We have to let go of the old programs, the old judgments, the old need to live in a lack place. It's a process that we all have to work through within ourselves so that we can come to command realities based upon vibrational frequencies and stand up and say, no, this is what I want in my world. And we're going through massive root and sacral chakra cleansings. Now, for those who went through, and I'm just saying those, it doesn't matter. I'm just giving reference points and that's it. But we started with individual chakras. We went through clearing each one of those out to the pillar of light, where all of the chakras are full-blown, wide open and spinning fully, and a multidimensional access was restored. Body turns into a human stargate, and you can hear the frequencies in the stargate style. It's pretty awesome and cool. And then what will happen is you can tune your frequency instantly, and you can have a different physical reality. You can step in and out of timelines. The more work you do in the sleep state consciously, then I know I'm tongue twisted today because I just taught a 5-hour, did a 5-hour group session, and all. I don't know how long it was. It was long. We all have to step into our power. We all have to hold the absolutely highest vibrational consciousness at all times. Expanding your field of consciousness means that you're going to be aware of everything in your field of consciousness and what's going on. And you do this from pulling away from everything and getting clarity, pulling away from everything and coming to peace, pulling away from everything and clearing everything that's a distraction and a distortion and an interference in your field of consciousness. You can't know what you really, really think or believe or what's going on inside of you when you have all kinds of distractions going on. Everybody will go through a hibernation phase. Everybody will prefer to be by themselves. Me time becomes really important. And it was funny because I realized the other day, when we're human, we don't like to be by ourselves. We're lonely. We can't occupy our time. We don't like the silence. We feel separation when we're by ourselves. Now, as we go through clearing all of that separation from self as source out along the way, we start to realize, wow, I love me time. I love my alone time. I love my silent time. And we not only love it, we crave it, we need it. It becomes a way of existing. And so if we don't get enough time by ourselves, things start going sideways in our world. Because while we're by ourselves, we're connecting with those other dimensions and those other realities, and we're creating. And we're in this beautiful place. And it's cool because for the human, they can't stand to be alone, because that's when all of their stuff starts coming up. Whereas when we are a higher self aspect, we love our alone time. It's awesome. It's the most important thing. Silence is golden. Words, especially with humans, are very empty. There's no meaning in them. There's no feeling. There's no purpose in even speaking. And when you're around someone whose heart is truly open, it's beautiful. And every word serves a purpose here. Everything is felt, everything is heard, everything is understood. There's no secrets, there's no reason to hide, there's no reason to shut down and protect yourself. There's no stories, unless we're just telling a story to give an example, to teach or share. That's the only reason stories are needed anymore. We use stories to explain how energy works. We use stories to create a picture, a visual, a hologram, for others to be able to see too. The physical body is really important. It needs to be number one for everybody. Sleep, number one. I list all these number ones that have to occur. All right. Now, as humans, we called it our subconscious. What was in our subconscious was a mystery. And then we start to wake up and we start to hear our subconscious. Some of it is our humanness. And then we also start to hear our higher consciousness, our wisdom, our higher self. As we move in to the process of awakening and ascension, then we move into the phase of hearing higher self and human self. And then it gets confusing because you don't know which one to listen to for a while. And then you start to understand how to listen in every way, shape, or form. Listening is through hear, see, feel, touch, smell. Symbols, signs, everything is a representation, a metaphor. You can use metaphors. You can use everything here, which is awesome. Numbers, you name it, everything. Bugs, everything. But our conscience was our higher self. And then we move into the world of duality, trying to figure the difference out. And then as we move through that into unity consciousness, that inner wisdom, all of that knowledge, that light that we hold becomes who we are again. And so we just listen to tones and frequencies and sounds. They replace the words. There are words in them sometimes, which is why I'll say, and the words were, because I listen to the tones and the sounds and the frequencies, and I pay attention to the energy of everything. There's no secrets in frequencies. There is no way to hide through energy. Everything is visible again. And when we listen to the tones and the sounds and the frequencies, then there's information, light packets, light encodements in all of these things. And it's inside our body, it's in our head. You can hear the whole universe, the moon, the sun, gamma rays, you name it, all of those things. They deliver information. They replace the words. Silence allows us, because the human's mind isn't silent, so you've got a lot of chatter going on. But as we raise our vibrational frequency, then the words, the human thoughts tend to go. And then you can come to that place of silence. And then everything is higher conscious awareness, expanded guidance, inner wisdom and knowledge inside. And you just listen inside to everything. And every word is inspiring. Every thought is inspiring. Now, if you get caught up in anything that you got to clear, then you go into the spin cycle and you just burn the energy off. It'll sort the body out a lot quicker now. The physical body will sort out. The brain will sort out. And now, if something's off, the response is instant too, and it comes up and it's really fast. You're like, you got to get it out and move it on. And so if you have anything that triggers, then it's boom, got to deal with it right then. You cannot lay in that energy anymore for a really long time. You got to get it out of your body. And then you got to do what you got to do. Human doesn't like what it's got to do. It doesn't want to see those things. Human aspect says Yes, but human aspect says, well, I see, and it doesn't like the reality that it sees. That's the way this works. There are going to be a lot of things you don't like as a human, but you're going to love as your higher self aspect as you start experiencing them in the physical world. Everything is magical, everything's blissful, everything is awesome. My new thing the other day when I woke up were the words are, surprise me, universe. I'm ready. Surprise me. And just stay wide open for the surprises. And so now I get up and I'm like, okay, surprise me, universe. Let's do this. Working is different here. It's a lot harder to do physical, mental work, not physically with the body so much. There are days when we get smacked with light activations inside our body and we have to go lie down and sleep. There are different ways to adapt. And that's another part of the process. You have to be able to adapt to the process, and you have to be able to maneuver through it and work through it based upon the energy that presents. For me, if I can't do my logical work, then I'll go get on Facebook and I'll write for people. I'll take the computer and go get in the bed. I got a table that's in the bed, and so it's not on my body. And I'll sit there and I'm like, okay, this is what's going on. And we hit this frequency and hit this frequency, or I'll write a piece for people, or I get up in the morning and if I don't have a session, then I'll write for people. And then I'll go do my thing. The problem, if you will, is I used to be able to sit on Facebook all day long and just write for people. And now I can't do that. I don't get to interact as much as I used to be able to because of the amount of work that I have to put out. And when you do a lot of this by yourself, then it's hard to get it all done. And so for me, with all of the video courses and with all of the, with the next 3 books, with all of the things and the sessions and the group sessions and the interviews and the live events and the calls, then being in service in every moment doesn't leave me a lot of time for other things. I do have to schedule myself to take a break and say, nope, not today, I'm doing this. And I have to let it all go, because otherwise I would be in service 24/7 and not take a moment for myself. And compared to other people, I don't take enough time off. And I'm rectifying that. I'm working on it. I do what I need to do, and then I go try to take some time off, even if it's just a couple hours. All right, I know this one's all over the place, but you know what? I've learned if I just ramble and talk about a bunch of things, then it helps somebody with understandings. I want to go back to unconscious, though, only because I've been observing the resistance of the human mindset, not wanting to embrace consciousness and jump. These realities create a push effect. When a timeline collapses, then you get pushed. You get pushed to make a decision. You get pushed to step up. You get pushed to work through things. You get pushed. That's what a timeline collapse does, is it pushes you to move out of one reality in order to arrive in the next one, in order for the other one to materialize for you here. Because the human will hold on to the old realities out of safety. You got to move. I call it quantum hopping. The moment I hear the frequencies shift, I'm like, uh-oh, move it. Boom, 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 move through realities. Boom, 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 do this, get it done right now. There is no lag time anymore. So we have to be able to quantum hop and move things out, move it out, move it out, move it out, get to the next thing, get this done. My world moves very fast, but in a very slow way. We don't speed up inside. We move slower. And the slower we move, the more we can do a multitude of realities all at the same time. So I can stand in one spot and I can see 40 different things and go boom, 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 do this, do that, do this, do that, do this, do that. Okay, I'm done. Whereas in the next moment, I have to physically go get that done, and I have to cut everything out and say, everybody go away, leave me alone. I've got to get this finished. It has to be done before I can do anything else. And there are certain times you're shown, get these things done, tie up these loose ends, finish this up, move it out, because you're about to do your next expansion into another dimension that's less limited than the one before, more unlimited. And you can't expand into that dimension when the frequencies shift if you're still holding on to the old one. And that's when people start getting drugged through realities and start not enjoying the journey, is because they're trying to hold on to something out of safety or survival or fear that they're never going to have enough again, or nothing else is going to come along. And they have all these stories they tell themselves that are not true anymore. If you're embracing your own light, if you're honoring your journey, if you're doing what you need to in honor and out of respect and integrity to your journey, then the only thing coming forth is more awesome than the journey and the experience that you had before. That's the only way it does work. Now, if you go to fear and you go to procrastination and you go to, no, I don't want to deal, no, I don't want to step into that next place, no, then your realities, they'll align anyway for you. Because when a timeline collapses, physical matter is already taking form. And the consciousness of the physical matter of the old reality is collapsing. But if you're human and you're holding on, you're going with it, if you will, until you wake up and go, wow, I got to let go. I'm suffering. Let it go. And then, boom, you can be right back. You can step into another timeline if you do. It's very fast here. There's no time to think. That's the point, because the brain operates at a lower frequency when you're in human mode, and you're trying to weigh your options to get the best deal. You're trying to wager what you want over what you know, and you're not willing to listen. In every moment, I have to make the hard decisions. In every moment, I have to step up. In every moment, I have to do what I know I have to do, whether I like it or not. Now, if I'm human, I'm aware, wow, I don't want to do that universe, and I'll stomp my feet and I'll whine consciously. And I'll complain and I'll walk around and then I'm like, okay, now let's go get it done. Because you know you got to do it. Because it's important. So you get the energy out of your body and you go get it done. I love get her done mode. I will just go full blown. And I stay in that mode because that comes from your root chakra, your desire. That comes from your creative, your sacral chakra. These have to be open and they're being stimulated. A lot of people going through the distortions when these activate. It's part of the purification process as well. The solar plexus, standing in your power, all of these things, the fears, the people are feeling their whole central body region pulsating as they're releasing fear. A lot of people feeling their cells move, bumping up against the old programs and density of the carbon-based body, causing anxiety and panic attacks, not understanding their body. When photonic light charges and starts to move, then it starts zooming through the body. Let me explain it this way. But if the physical body is locked down and there's a lot of physical density in the body, the cells can't move and they're just bumping up against it and it feels like a panic attack. And so what you want to do is breathe through it, relax the muscles, relax the body so that that energy can move. Breathe, expand, open your heart, because if your heart shuts down, nothing can move. And it's going to be a whole lot less comfortable. And the reason I say this is because I went through it. I went through all the extremes. I went through the intensity of it all. I had to come through it just like everybody else does too. Let's see what else I can throw in here. And I'll probably end this soon. The more we don't want to listen, the more it affects us. When you are a higher self aspect, you become a guide to others. That's how I became a guide, because the moment I stepped into higher self role within myself, I was able to guide others as their higher self aspect too. Which is why so many people come to me and say, you were in my dream last night working with me. because as higher self aspects, we're working with many. Now, every one of us are here to recognize our humanness and transcend it from within, to come back to unity, peace, and love. This is a journey of coming back to what we forgot. And in order to do that, we have to stay fully present in our body, fully present in a way. Because while we're fully present in our body, our mind's expanding and we're in other dimensions and we're floating around, playing in those inspirational ideas, writing all of those ideas down. That imagination, I started realizing years ago that my imagination was my access to the other dimensions. And that's when I started really getting into it all, which is kind of cool. Started writing the crazy stuff that other people thought was crazy. And now all of a sudden they're experiencing it and going, wow, we get it, Lisa, we're seeing the same thing. So you can't judge a journey. You can't put a limit on it. You can't say, but I don't want to do that because I can't see why. The human wants to know why they have to do those things. The answer is because you do. It's part of the journey. This is how it works. It's called opening up, stepping up, embracing your power, embracing you as love, making your journey first. And then there's been a lot of conversation around energy, abundance, investing in things, resources, and basically, we have to be willing to invest everything we've got in ourselves and this journey and in creating change. Because if we're not fully invested, then we're not fully committed. And if we're not fully committed, then it's not as easy. And so as I started realizing that I had to take my resources, I had to take everything I had, and I had to fully commit everything that I had to this. That's when everything turned around. When I started realizing I had to step up, I had to support other people. And opening up and creating like the gifting program the last few months. I've been doing this for years, but I've started it on a global scale. Whereas in the past, it was just all of those that I was able to interact with on a day-to-day basis and all. But when I became generous, when I started opening up and gifting and sharing, that's when I started receiving things. And so you have to be open to receive, but then you also have to be open to sharing, and you have to open up, because that not being open is your block in your wall. So every time you don't want to, then you're the one that's creating a reality of lack. Nothing can come to you if you're shut down and not opening up. And there comes a point in everybody's reality where something, if we don't do it ourselves, if we don't challenge ourselves, if we don't see the stuff within ourselves and we don't decide to completely move through it and not listen to the old programs anymore, then that's when our physical reality has to change, because we're not willing to change first. And we have to, as humans, we wait until the physical reality changes or something pushes us. Human will wait for fear to get them moving. Human uses fear as a motivator. It takes fear. It takes the fear of loss. It takes not having anything to get that person to be committed, to get that person to open up. Whereas we go, wow, I don't need the fear. I'll just go get it done. And we go get things done. And when you start doing that, then you don't have to lack anymore. That and many other things, because this is alchemy, this is mastery, this is all of those things. And when you become pure, divine, source, love, essence, standing in your power, again, your whole world changes. It's magnificent. And when it's not, you deal with it. You move it out. It's really fast, because boom, in these frequencies, as soon as you do, you're right back. So on that, I think I'll end this video, and I will say, I love you guys, And I hope this wasn't too all over the place. I'll get more videos out. But for now, y'all have an amazing everything. Oh, today's the equinox, and that's awesome too. And enjoy it. We're coming through the full moon. Going to be powerful the few days after. Get ready. Huge. We'll go into gamma activations, which will charge your particles. And these shake the realities up. These make the earth move. These do everything. They also open up vortexes and stargates fast so that everything that can come through, they do everything. They start that genetic recoding to kick into high gear. There's all kinds of stuff going on, guys. So get ready, embrace it all, open up. Stop trying to hang on to the old ways. Step into your power. And for those sleeping, number one, sleep. Anchor that light. For those in creation mode, bring those creations into the physical. For those noticing or moving into gifts phases, share your gifts. There are so many things here. There's no way to cover it all. And we can do this forever and only touch just a little bit. Cool part is it's simple. And it takes more words for humans because we have to explain everything versus students saying, oh, this is how it is. And they go, oh, I get it. And that's what the soul does. It gets it. It's very simple here. So I love you. Have an amazing everything. And I shall see you soon.